Trouble goes wherever I go. I'm trying to fight but can't take control. And no matter where I run, seems like my problems are just begun. I guess you reap what you sow.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to Sound Collision Radio. I am your host, Conquest. As you can see, no guest today. Still trying to work on scheduling others to get on here and, represent themselves, tell you about themselves so you can learn about their music, their faith, same way you've learned about mine on the first podcast that I put out there. I wanted to still get something out to you guys. And this one, let's call it Faith Talk. I came across a video while doing what most of us do, and that's scrolling social media. And there was one that really, really hit me hard. And I wanted to share it with you guys. So I'm just going to go ahead and go right forward with it and let you guys watch it. And then we're going to talk about it a little bit. All right, let's get it going.
You'll probably never see this, but I heard this poem today in church and thought that it would be dope for your pod. Carson. It is dope for the pod, so I'm about to read it, okay? It's a little long, so stick in there with us.
Don't fall asleep.
Pay attention. This might change your life. Okay? The title of the poem is called Holes, okay? And this is how it goes. I had been in that hole for a very long time, in the dark and in the damp, in the cold and in the slime. The shaft was above me, I could see it quite clear, but there was no way I could ever reach it from here, nor could I remember the world way up there. So I lost all my hope and gave in to despair. I knew nothing but darkness, the floor and the walls. Then off in the distance I heard someone call, "Get up, get ready, there's nothing the matter. Take rocks and old sticks and build up a fine ladder." This had never occurred to me, had not crossed my mind, but I started to stack all the stones I could find. When I ran out of stones, then old sticks were my goal. For one way or another, I'd get out of this hole. So I soon had a ladder that was sturdy and tall, and I thought, I'll soon leave this place once and for all. I climbed up my ladder, it was no easy chore, for from lifting these boulders, my shoulders were sore. I climbed up my ladder, but soon had to stop, for my ladder stopped short, some 10 feet from the top. I climbed back down my ladder and started to cry. I'd done all I could do, I gave my best try, and in spite of my work in this hole I must die. And all I could do was sit and think, why? Was my ladder too short, or my hole much too deep? Then from way up high came a voice, "Do not weep." And the faith, hope, and love entered my chest, as the voice said to me that I had done my best. He said, "You've worked hard, your labor's been rough, but the ladder you've built is at last tall enough. Do not despair, you have reason to hope. Just climb up your ladder, I'll throw down my rope." I climbed up the ladder, then climbed up the cord. When I got to the top, there stood the Lord. I couldn't be happier, my struggle was done. I blinked in the brightness that came from the sun. I fell to the ground, his feet did I kiss. I cried, "What can I do to repay thee for this?" Then he looked all around him. There were holes in the ground, they had people inside, and were seen all around. There were thousands of holes that were damp, dark, and deep. Then the Lord turned to me, and he said, "Feed my sheep." Then he went on his way to help other lost souls, and I got right down to work, calling down to the holes, "Get up, get ready, there's nothing the matter. Take rocks and old sticks, and build up a fine ladder." It was now my turn to spread the good word, the most glorious message that man ever heard, that there is one who is willing to save one and all, and we've got to be ready when he gives the call. He'll put us out of the hole that we're in and save all our souls from death and from sin. So do not lose faith, there is reason to hope. Just build up your ladder, he'll throw down his rope.
What a powerful message that was. I know a lot of you are unsure of things in your life right now, went through a hard time. Things just seem so unsure. The world is changing, and it seems like you're drowning. And I'm not going to say that I'm out of that place or that I've made it out or anything, because I'm still trying to swim my way to the surface, especially doing this, especially doing my music, trying different things, trying to move forward and build a legacy for my kids, my family. We've seen a lot of loss, and that video just, um, a lot of you don't know, I mentioned maybe to some of my friends that seen it on my social media account, but I just hit a year sober, just this month, July 4th. And I know some of you are struggling with either substance abuse or alcohol. And I want to tell you that if you're thinking about quitting, do it. Take those small steps you can to move towards getting there. And I'm not saying that everything's going to be sunshine and rainbows as soon as you quit, but it does get better. Your body will thank you. Your family will thank you. And you might lose some people along the way, but it's part of it. It's part of the improvement process. Before you could gain those people you need in your life. I just wanted to pass that encouragement. And with this video, I've gone through a lot of isolation, a lot of time isolating, where I feel like people just don't understand. I go through these processes very often, except lately my isolation has been to try to hear God speak and direct me on my next steps. And some of the steps that I feel that He's led me to, I can't explain it. They're confusing to me, but it does teach me. And maybe financially it has not done what I'd like it to do, what my selfish desires want, but I know I can look back and look at where I'm at now and realize that there's been a lot of improvement and a lot more accomplishments than I had before. But I know what that being in that dark hole was about. And when I found this video, that's the whole reason I came up with my last album, Ep.6, is because I felt I was trapped. I've been trapped for a long time. And that's why it hit me so hard. Because I've felt trapped down there. And I know I made it out. I know I made it out and the suffering hasn't stopped, but it has made me want to help other people, because I know there's so many that are in those holes as well. And so many don't even listen to the help that's there, the voice that's there saying, don't fear. And that's what I want to share this verse with you, that I have, and I jotted down, and it's Isaiah 41:10. It says, so do not fear, for I am with you. Do not be dismayed, for I am your God. I will strengthen you and help you. I will uphold you with my righteous right hand. If you heard the last podcast with Charlie Haley, him and I worked together for, a few years, and he always tried to talk to me about God, and I ignored it. I'll be honest, I ignored it. I was not a man of faith. I know I did talk to God. I argued with God, plenty of occasions, but they were selfish conversations. And I feel like a lot of us do that. If we didn't believe in God, we wouldn't say, oh my God. We wouldn't say the things that we say. We wouldn't believe there were ghosts. We wouldn't believe any of that stuff. Because there has to be an opposite, right? If you could believe in all those dark things, there's got to be an opposite. It can't just be that. If you're on the fence, I want you to think about that for a moment. But that dark hole, I mean, you're feeling like you're the only one in there. You're the only one that's going through anything. And I could say that now, even with doing what I'm doing with my music. I've been struggling to finish my next album for the simple fact that I don't want to give you anything that's going to bring you down and not inspire you or not fill you with hope or something. And I've been struggling. I mean, support out there, as you've heard from other artists that I've had on here, support is very, very slim. And I've been struggling with that. And I met with someone on Thursday that looked at the views that I have, and he said, hey, it's not extravagant. It's not a crazy amount that you have right now. Like on one of the videos that he watched with Pastor Dan, and he said, you got 46 views. And he said, that's amazing. I said, it wasn't until he said it and in the tone he said it that it made me realize, yeah, that's good. That's good. 46 people. We were able to reach 46 people. And who knows what happens after that. And I oftentimes will get into these situations where I think a lot of us do, where we want that extravagant thing. We want such a fast result that something that might have given us the success that we truly desire, we drop it because that extravagant thing just didn't happen right off the bat. Not knowing that there's potential, that it was just starting off small and not knowing that it could potentially become something big. And then we just continue on this vicious circle till we try so many things or we just completely give up. And you have something that the world might need. But without patience, we'll never, ever be able to put it out there for other people to find it. And the successfulness that you wanted will never be gained. And I know you're probably asking yourself in those times, why me? I mean, I could go and scroll through a ton of videos and look at a ton of different people who have it better than me. Why me? Why am I stuck in this spot? Because you have something special and you just haven't reached it yet. It's something I had to come to terms with. I wasn't even going to do this podcast tonight. I had a cancellation and I wanted that extravagant thing to happen immediately. But it doesn't work that way. If you listen to any CEO speak of any company, anything like that, including the one for the company I work for, he started exactly doing the same kind of work that I started doing. And now he owns his own company. But it took him a lot of time just to get there. And it made me think, when I mentioned it on the other podcast, the most valuable thing you could give anything, that includes family, friends, anything. Your career is your time because it cannot be regained. So if you're trying to aim for something, give it your time. It's imperative. And if you think you're all alone in your situations, you're not. I want you to know that there is a God and Jesus Christ is with you. And you're probably questioning, well, why does he let all this stuff happen? I've been there. I questioned that. I questioned it many times, and sometimes I still do. But he's there. You ask for all the things that you want, but it can't be handed. Could you imagine a world where everything gets handed to everyone? You think it would be peaceful? It wouldn't. It would not, because there would always be a desire to have more. You must learn. You can't pray for patience. If you pray for patience in my household, when someone drops the word patience in a prayer, we kind of grunt because we know that means we have to learn. We're going to be put through those trials. And if any of you have never read in the Bible, the book of Job, it is a clear-cut example of how we have to learn. But I urge you, if you haven't, go read it. Maybe this would be a step you can take towards reading the Bible. That was one of the first books I learned about properly. Just know you're not alone. And isolation is a huge topic for me, simply because it's so easy to tell others not to isolate, and so easy for people to tell you not to isolate. What are you doing and what are they doing is the question. This is a huge question that it haunts me probably every single day. If you're not making the attempts on either side, don't expect the isolation to stop. Pray. Talk to God. Ask for signs. Don't be afraid to ask for things. And I know if you feel like me, I went through a long period of time not asking for anything. I would pray and think. I would pray and think for my meals, for the things that I do already have. And I just didn't want to ask because I was like, am I begging? Am I being a beggar? I don't want to be like everybody else and just keep asking for things. If you feel that way, then talk to him more. Talk to him more. Get to know him. Let him answer you. And there's a joke out there that if you talk to yourself, you know you're in trouble when you start to answer yourself. When you're praying, or if you're asking God for things, he might send you signs that tells you to not purchase something, not go a certain direction. There's signs that we miss all the time. Well, let me tell you, when you listen to your own selfish desires, you might not be speaking it out loud, but you're answering yourself. In some form of the way, you're in trouble. And that's how we end up in our situations a lot of the times. We could say so many things are out of our control, but how accurate is it all the time? That's why there's so very little, so few people that they could go through so many things and somehow they still rise to the top. Still rise to the top. Why do you think that is? It's because of how they handled things, the decisions they made, and where they chose to put their time. That's what made the difference. For me, it's been a lack of time in things, and sometimes a lack of effort, I'll be honest. But I haven't given up, and I suggest that you don't either. Because it's a learning process, a learning process and practice. With that video, I hope it spoke to you the same way that it did me. I hope that it changes your life and it gets you to think about your necessities, how you handle situations when you're facing people, whether they are against you or whatever, of how you're going to handle it, because you don't know what they're going through right now. They're reacting in a way that they shouldn't because they're lost too. If you figured out how to react to situations and you've got that self-control, just know that some of those people are still in those holes, waiting for you to tell them to gather every stone, to gather every stick, to start building that ladder to help out, to help get them out of there. And all it takes is completely free, is to be kind, be helpful, and to serve like we are called to do. And a lot of you may see this video, you might see other ones, you might scroll across things. There is so much out there just trying to push you away from the peace that you could have. But they're telling you that being a Christian is a cult, that you shouldn't believe in, and showing hypocrites out there and everything, trying to just push you away. Why do you think that is? You think it really is a cult? Why would they try to keep you away from something peaceful? Yeah, there are people out there. We know there are people out there, myself included, who make mistakes as Christians, who say things that they shouldn't, who react in ways that they shouldn't. But are you perfect not being a Christian? I don't think any of us are. None of us have it figured out. The best thing we could do is band together. That's what we're called to do. Help each other, serve each other, wash each other's feet. If you're on the fence, I urge you to talk to him before you make any sudden decisions. And let him guide you. Let God guide you. I know somewhere somebody needed to hear all this. And I know it may sound like I'm talking nonsense or whatnot, but I didn't expect to be doing this. I'm a musician, a struggling musician. And here I am. Because I want to reach you and I want to help you. And I pray that this reaches somebody who needs it desperately, and that this fills you with hope. You're not done. You're not washed up. It's not over till he says it's over. God bless you guys. You have a wonderful rest of the weekend. And if you're looking for somewhere to go, a church to maybe hear something, be fed, I'm out in Rochelle, Illinois. You can come to New Hope Fellowship. Google the address, because off the top of my head, I don't have it, but I urge you to come out and just check it out. It changed my life when I didn't want to go. Great night.